Hello, I am back because we are officially halfway through the year, a little bit over, like a week and a half over. But we're halfway through the year, and I wanted to update you on my goals and how they're going. I'm trying to do this every quarter, and then at the end of the year, we're going to do a big, goals bonanza where I get to total up my points and I get to spend them. So if you haven't seen any of the videos in this sort of series, I set some lofty goals for 2025, and I have this whole game system set up to where I can earn different points throughout the year. So then at the beginning of next year, 2026, I can redeem those points for some amazing, fun, bookish prizes, and I'm very excited about it. And I've been doing really well. This kind of game system is keeping me very motivated on my goals, and I have a lot of things to update you with, some goals that I have finished, some that I have not made progress on that I'm a little worried about, lots of things to talk about. The first goal that I have on my list that I have accomplished is find a new favorite detective series. I set a goal to read 10 books in detective series, and I did find one that I think could be a favorite. I'm not sure how far it's going to go, but that is the Dr. Ren Muller series by Elena Urquhart is, I think, going to be a new favorite. We'll see. So this has 2 books out so far in the series, and it's about a medical examiner who is involved with this serial killer and gets involved in trying to find this serial killer. There's 2 books out. The first one is The Butcher and the Wren, and the second one is Butcher's Game. I definitely preferred The Butcher and the Wren compared to the second one. I thought the second one just wasn't quite what I was looking for as much, but one of the big things that I've wanted with my detective series is I want an overarching story along with individual mysteries within each book, which is a lot to ask for, but it's something that I think is really compelling in a detective series, is that overarching story going on, and this villain kind of just out of reach all the time, they can't get to them, and this series definitely delivered that, and I really hope that I will continue to like future books in the series and hopefully will read them and love them. Out of all of the ones that I've read, I think the only ones I'm going to continue are that series, as well as Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I read that one a couple months ago, and I liked it. It took me a long time to read, but I don't think that was because I wasn't liking it. I think I was just reading slowly, having a hard time physically reading. So I think I want to continue on with that one, though I will say I haven't heard that the later books are as good as the first one, and since the first one wasn't a 5 stars, love it, so obsessed with it, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about books later in the series. We'll find out. So that's done. That means I don't need to prioritize detective series anymore, which might be good because I do have some things in here that I'm not sure how they're going. They've been very slow going, and I have a lot of progress I need to make. So for finding a new favorite detective series, I got a score of amazing, which means I have 10 points total. The next one I have is reading classics that I own. I set a goal to read 10 of them, and I am currently halfway through, so halfway through the year, halfway through this challenge. I will say that this challenge has been the one that's been the hardest to find ones I actually like. The ones that I've picked up so far have almost all been misses, so I've only finished 1 out of the 5, and the other 4 have been DNFs, which is unfortunate, and the one I did finish to completion was The Woman in White, and I thought it was okay, but to be fair, it's not something that I find myself thinking about. It's not something that I feel really better for reading. It was just an interesting time while I read it, and then I kind of moved on. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but it does feel good to be reading those classics and getting them off my shelves. For this one, since I've read 5 out of the 10, that is a great score, which is plus 5 points. So we're at 15 points total, which is really good because if you've seen my first check-in, we were negative. So getting up there with those points to begin with feels really good. The next one is another one that I am halfway through the year, but I feel like this is one of the hardest ones for me to think about completing in the future, and that is new to me authors that I own 2 or more books by. So if I have an author that I haven't read from before and I own more than one of their books, I need to try one of their books. And I talked before about how this is a little tricky because a lot of the authors that I own multiple books by are starting series. So if I'm trying out a book of theirs, I'm also committing to starting a series, which can be a little bit overwhelming as I'm trying to have less series on the go overall. But we are making our way through slowly. I do have a couple books on here that I've checked off, but I haven't fully finished yet. And so I have 2 that are on the go, but I wrote them on here so I wouldn't forget them. So currently I have finished 13 of them. The 2 that are on the go are Flesh and Spirit by Carol Berg. This is the start of a fantasy duology, so it felt okay to start this one since there's only 2 books. And then The Broken Crown by Michelle West is a 6-book series of very chunky books, at least 700 pages or more for all the books. And I started this in May for my Start a Book a Day challenge. I haven't got back around to it, but I am planning to in the future. I really liked the beginning of this one, and I have high hopes that I will like this author, which was really exciting. I've done 13 out of the 25 that I want to do. So let's look at how many points that is worth. So 13 is still in the okay range, which is only 1 point, but it is positive. That's what we're looking for. Keep it in the positives. So adding 1 point, we are up to 16 points overall. Next, we have another one that I've been working on, and we're over halfway through, which feels really good. Older mass market paperback fantasies. These ones that I've started are really nice because they've been doing double duty. They are books I've had for quite a bit, and they're also mass market paperback fantasies. I have so many of these that are older fantasy titles, and I hang on to them and I don't start them because they're either intimidating or they're not these new releases that are really exciting that everyone's talking about. But they are ones I'm genuinely interested in because I have them on my shelves. And if I have them on my shelves and I haven't gotten rid of them yet, I'm definitely interested. So I wanted to make it a priority because I have so many to try them out. And I've been doing that. So I have read 8 out of the 12 that I wanted to. These 2 are still in progress, but I have checked them off on here, but these will need to be read in order for this to work. But I'm just trying to not lose track of things. We're counting them for now, which is just at the okay range. Once I get to 9, I'm going to be in the great range. So I'm going to add a point. Okay is still a point. So far, we haven't had anything negative. I wonder if we're past all the negative points. That would feel really good. So next is to finish all the series that I began before 2025. Now, this one, when I originally made it, I thought I only had 10 series open. And I did find a couple other ones here and there that I had forgotten about that need to slide in. So if I finish all 10 of these, I still won't have finished all of the series I started before 2025, or at least caught up on them. So I am going to be pushing for finishing all the series I started before 2025 this year, because I want to be really working on finishing series in a timely manner. And those are ones that have been lingering on a little bit longer. But just to let you know how I'm doing, I have finished or DNF'd 8 out of the 10 series I've wanted to, and I have 2 that I think I will easily be able to complete this year. So the ones I'm working on are the Silo series by Hugh Howey. I'm currently reading Shift, and then I will be picking up Dust. I am really enjoying this series. I'm really liking Shift so far, even though I've been reading it at the slowest pace ever. A lot of things have been going on. I just haven't been reading as much since Wonderthon, and kind of enjoying some time with some other hobbies, as well as having some health issues, which means I'm reading it on my phone instead of in my hands, which is very difficult for me. I am not an ebook reader most of the time. Unless I can't get it physically and I have to read it on my phone, I much prefer to read an actual book, but that just hasn't been an option for me. So I'm taking the ebook where I can get it, and I'm doing that. So I want to finish this series because I'm really enjoying it. And then I've been talking about this series like crazy. I have 2 books left. I really enjoy this series. They're fun, horror-y, thriller, kind of fantastical. Like, is it fantastical things happening or just real life messed up things happening? I really enjoy this series, and I have 2 books left in the 6 Stories series by Matt Wesolowski. So I plan to finish those 2 series for sure this year. And then the other one I know that is ongoing that I would like to get caught up on is the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon. I need to read the 2 most recent books that have been published and then get ready for the final book in the series to be published, hopefully in the next couple of years. So I'd like to get caught up so I can be on the hype train for that newest book. So I will hopefully be finishing at least 3 series, and then I have to check and see if there are any other ones that are on there that I need to read. Otherwise, I'll start working on the series I started in 2025, which I've definitely started more than I expected, but that's okay. At least I've been enjoying them. I have read 8 out of 10 series. That is a great rating, so we are adding another 5 points. Then we have our Taming the Shelves challenge. So one of my big challenges for 2025 was to read down the books I owned. And I had 2 goals that were working together along with all my other goals to give me books to read from the books that I owned. So Taming the Shelves is a little project I've been doing where I'm going through my books and trying to read down the amount of books that I have physically on my shelves. So the first version of this was to make it so that I didn't have books stacked on top of other books, like kind of squeezed in every corner, because that's what my bookshelves were. I had stacks on the floor. Like, my books did not fit on my shelves, and I don't need more shelf space. I just needed to not be bringing in books and then reading library books instead of my own books. I needed to prioritize my own books. So that's what I've been doing, and I can't remember exactly when I finished it, but I finished phase 1 of Taming the Shelves, which is to have all my books fit double stacked. So there's books and then books in front of them, but none stacked on top. So we have accomplished that, which is amazing. And there's even like extra space to spare. Like right now, half of this bookshelf is library books right now, because I have some library books left over from Wonderthon that I'm wanting to read. And so, like, I have a whole shelf that is, like, half library books right now. And I still have open spaces on other shelves. And I just feel like I have so much more breathing room with my books right now. I can see the books I own better. And phase 2 of this challenge, while it doesn't count for my actual goals, is to have my books not be double stacked. So just to have single stacks on all my shelves and try to keep it that way. So that's my goal for the future that I am still working on. But for this challenge, Taming the Shelves is completed. 12 out of 12 shelves fit my criteria for that challenge. So we are adding another 10 points. This is going so fabulous. I love it. So then next, another challenge that I have is to read 75% of my books this year from my shelves instead of from the library. So this is where that second goal comes in that works with Taming the Shelves to meet that goal of reading down my own books. So 75% of the books I read need to come from my own shelves, not from the library. Audiobooks do not count because I do not own audiobooks. So if I get an audiobook from the library that's a library book, I'm not counting this against myself. I'm counting my physical reading time. If I'm physically reading a book that I own, that counts. If I'm audiobook listening to a book that I own, that also counts. But if I'm picking up a physical book from the library and using my physical book reading time to read it, that does count against this goal. And so far this year, I have read 83% books that I've owned rather than from the library. So about 17% books from the library, 83% books that I own. I am so far still doing amazing with this goal. So that adds 10 points. Okay, so then we get to the final goal, and the goal that I really need to get stuck in on is reading one big fantasy series this year, start to finish, reading the whole thing as long as I like it. And the first time I did this in January, it was an epic fail because I ended up DNFing the first book and unhauling the whole series. So then I picked another series that I have the entire series for on my shelves, and I have read one book, and that's it. I read one book in April. That was The 12 Kings and Cherokee by Bradley P. Bolio. And I have books 2 through 6 on my shelves. I have not touched them since April. So it's been a couple months, and a lot of them are chunky. Now, I will say in this series, not all of them keep getting chunkier. There are a couple books that are smaller later on in the series, but there are a few that are like chunky books. This one's like 650 pages, so it could be longer. But if I'm going to finish a series, I have 5 more books to read. That's like a book a month to finish it by December. So I really need to get going on this because right now I've only gotten one, which is an abysmal score, which is our first negative. Abysmal is -2 points. So I'm going to be taking away 2 points for that goal, and that's really needs to be my focus. So I think what I'm going to be trying to do in this next quarter, we're going to have July, September, and August. I really need to work on reading this series. I enjoyed the first one, so I have high hopes for the next one. So I'm excited to do this one. I need to be reading on that. I would like to throw in a classic somewhere in there. I don't have any classics I'm set on, but I have a lot of John Steinbeck, who's one of my favorite classic authors. So I'm thinking I could read a book or two of his. He has a lot of small books, and I have a couple of them. Or I have his big one, East of Eden, which I could read. I have a lot of options. So definitely I kind of want to be working on those. And then I just need to be making consistent progress on all my other goals to finish them by the end of the year. So I really want to be focusing on this one and my series, get my series wrapped up, and then continue working on all these other things that I need to be working on. So overall, I have 40 points, which is almost enough to buy my most expensive prize, but definitely not enough for me to do all the things that I want to do. If I get 5 bonus points, which I didn't talk about, let me talk about my bonus points. So my bonus points is the longest streak of owned books read without buying a book or bringing a book home from a library, which I just brought some books home from a little free library the other day. So I'm adding to my shelves. So I'm going to need to stop. But so far, my max has been somewhere, I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere between the 21 and 39 book range. If I want the 5 bonus points, I need to read 50 books in a row without bringing a book home. So that's tricky, and I don't know if I'm going to get there. So my hope is going to be to end with at least 80 points. That would mean completing all of my challenges that I've set, all of my goals, except for that bonus goal. If I complete all of them, I'll end with 80 points. I could buy the 3 kind of top prizes that I want, which are a massage, because I love massages and I don't allow myself to get them very much because they're very expensive, but they're lovely. So getting a massage, doing a bookshop crawl, which is going around to my favorite bookshops in Portland and just having a day where I eat good food in Portland and I go visit all my favorite shops and I allow myself to kind of go crazy with the book buying. And then a library crawl I would love to do. So that's where I have it all planned out. I think I could go to like 4 or 5 libraries in my county that aren't too far apart and basically just spend an entire day going to a bunch of different libraries within my library system and like looking at their collections and the libraries, because I am obsessed with libraries. I am a library girly through and through. Like, I love bookstores, especially used bookstores, but libraries are like a little piece of heaven on earth to me. I love them so much. And I want, like, I would potentially forego the massage just to get that library call. Because I have been like telling myself I can't go visit other libraries because I want that special surprise at the beginning of next year when I get to plan this whole day and plan where I'm going to eat and get some drinks and some sweet treats in between and read at the libraries and check out their collections. Like, I want that so bad. I should have probably made it more expensive than 10 points because it's such a like motivating thing for me, but I also think that that's something that is really important to me to like support libraries, so I wanted to make sure I could do it no matter what. So that's definitely the goal that's calling me the most right now, is that library crawl. So, but also a massage. So I need to really be like working on earning my points so that I can get those goals. So that's been my update. I have been having such a fun time with these goals. I definitely slowed down in May and June for reading for these goals. So I'm going to kind of pick up the pace in the coming months and see if I could smash out and like finish a couple of these goals in this coming quarter and then be able to kind of coast and take it easy in the last part of the year. But we'll see what happens. Anything can happen, and I will see you in the next update in a few months. Please tell me, do you have any reading goals that you are working on, and how are they going? We're halfway through the year. Do you feel like they're doable? Do you feel like you need to adjust anything? Let me know how they're going, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.